And he's quite possibly, we were debating backstage, he's quite possibly the oldest performer in the Anchorage Folk Festival. He is 70 years young and getting younger every year. He's got several projects. He's kind of an Alaskan national treasure. You can ask him a question about anything to do, I think, with Alaskan history, and he's got all kinds of stories and wonderful facts. He says his next project will be logging songs dating back as far as 1852, and he's got his next project in line, which will be cowboy songs. He does have recordings in the lobby. It's called the Gold Rush Collection, and it's songs from 1849 to 1941. Let's hear it, please, for Paul Roseland.
I'm going to sing you, I'm off to the Klondike. You know, when they brought that ton of gold into Seattle, everybody went to the Klondike. Go to the place where they struck it rich. Go to the place where the treasures are hid. And a hatful of mud is a 5-pound note, and a clod on a hill is a quid. Klondike, Klondike, labor your luggage for Klondike, for there ain't no luck in the town today. There ain't no work, so get on your way. So pack up your luggage, be on your way. I'm off to the Klondike. They scratch the earth and it tumbles out, more than your hands can hold. For the hills above and the creeks below are cracking and busting with gold. Klondike, Klondike, labor your luggage for Klondike, for there ain't no luck in the town today. There ain't no work, so get on your way. So pack up your luggage, be on your way. I'm off to the Klondike. I'll find my way to the Klondike. It's getting close to the rendezvous time. This is on my other cassette that White Geese produced. It's Yenny on the Etna. There's 2 versions. But I'll sing you the oldest one that was written in Curry in 1918. Sally Munserud, who was a teacher here in the 30s, said it was written by a guy by Nilsson, but he didn't know if he was a Norwegian or Swede. And I worked up in the Yukon in Golden Creek mining, and Neil Beaton worked with me. And I said, well, your dad, Johnny, made the discovery that I did wrong. And I said, did you ride the train when you were young and stop at Curry? Yeah, he says. Well, I said, did you ever know of a guy that played accordion? Yeah, he says, a big guy. Well, I said, what was his name? Well, he says, Rasmus Nilsson. So we believe maybe Yenny and Yetna was written by Rasmus Nilsson, but it became the Rendezvous song in 1939. Anton Anderson, the mayor that put the tunnels through Whittier, added the 2 verses, and it was the first Rendezvous song. I sang it in Norway, and I didn't know the tune. A guy comes up to me and he said, oh, that's an old shaddies called Ole Ole Mattis. Yenny on the Yetna, she been my little pal. She had never seen any finer gal. There is other women, there used to be, but Yenny on the Yetna's good enough for me. Over on the Cobuck 3 weeks ago, together we take off and be a big show. Night the girls are dancing, very nice to see, but Yenny on the Yetna's good enough for me. Then I come to Anchorage to see the rendezvous. Yenny she come later, maybe day or 2. Only does she loves me, she's been asking me for Yenny on the Yetna's good enough for me. Sit by the fireplace, up in Yenny's house. Yenny sitting by me like a little mouse. After we are married, happy school we be. For Yenny on the Yetna's good enough for me. We winter and took eating of the short winter days. When spring rolls around, we head for Bristol Bay. Then we have some little ones, maybe 2 or 3. For Yenny on the Yetna that's good enough for me. Then the fishing's over, you're going to see. We come into Anchorage, we go upon a spree, singing and a dancing, kicking up our knees. For Yenny on the Yetna is good enough for me. Really, part of them words came off of Squaws Along the Yukon are good enough for me. And Frank Young wrote that in 1913. And I know back on my CD I had to put, these are the original words, and they may be offensive today. I've written a few songs, quite a few, but some of them that have been recorded by other people. I did quite a bit of prospecting, and all these cabins are rotted down. But there was one on Lewis River that the guy trapped out of, and he cut open his blazo cans and put it on the roof so it protected it, and it had a nice little stove in there and a cot that was made out of poles. But I wrote this song. Oh, I remember my old trapper's den that stood by the side of the brook, and the many of miles I covered around, traveling alone on foot. My old trapper's den has gone to decay, the sod drift is all caving in, and the trail that I walked has grown with brush, and the chimney is all tumbled in. Oh, the pots and the pans and the old bean cans, they look like for years it has been the hide of a bear and an homemade chair and an empty bottle of gin. Oh, I remember the warm summer breeze, so welcome in June and July, and the old meat cache that stood by the spruce at the foot of the mountain so high. Oh, I remember the well-beaten trail that led from a den to the draw, and the moose that would feed on willow buds, and the birds that would sing me their song. Oh, I remember the north wind that blew out of the darkness at night, and the old barrel stove and the candle I used would give off a glowing of light. Oh, the cache and the den and the well-beaten trail, I'll maybe see them no more. And the old trapper's den and the winters I spent, nothing but dirt for my floor. Oh, I remember till the day that I die, I bid it forever goodbye, and think of the years and the winters I spent, tracking and trapping for hides. There's a girl here that used to sing during the Rendezvous. She was only about 7 years old. And I've talked to her a few times. And we used to have the ptarmigan roost during the Rendezvous. And for some, I thought I'd sing something different. So I sang an old Scottish ballad called For Marys. And the two teenagers walked out and they stopped me and they said, "We got a bet that you're either Irish or you're Scottish." And I said, "You're both wrong." I said, "I'm half Swede and half Norwegian." This is an old ballad about the King of Scotland that had 4 maids. And he subdued one of them when she had a child. He got rid of it. But they were all named Mary. Oh, often I would dress me queen and put on her silk brown gown, but all the things I've got tonight is to hang in Ugbert town. Last night there were 4 marries, tonight it be but 3. They were Mary Beaton and Mary Seaton and Mary Carmichael and me. Oh, little did me mother know the day she cradled me, that that while I'm traveling through this land, it be the devil to me. Last night there were 4 marries, tonight it be but 3. They were Mary Beaton and Mary Seaton and Mary Carmichael and me. Till tie a handkerchief round me eyes, so I cannot see thee. Till never tell me father and mother that I'm across the sea. Last night there were 4 marries, tonight it be but 3. They were Mary Beaton and Mary Seaton and Mary Carmichael and me. I'll sing you another old song. Anybody remember the troubadour song? Some told me it's 500 years old. I doubt it. Do you happen to know of a maiden in need of a sweetheart, just one who is anxious to please? It's a shame that a handsome young fellow like me should be left while the nightingale sings in the tree. It's a shame that a handsome young fellow like me should be left while the nightingale sings in the tree. In the woods and the meadow, beneath the bright moon, every lad with his lust picked the best on a June. The world has a got a wooing, excepting for me, and the nightingale sings to his mate in the tree. The world has a got a wooing, excepting for me, and the nightingale sings to his mate in the tree. The time it is short, there is none I can spare, for the nightingale song will soon die in the air. Do you think, dearest Phyllis, you better agree to make love while the nightingale sings in the tree? Do you think, dearest Phyllis, you better agree to make love while the nightingale sings in the tree? There's a song I wrote that's kind of been more of my favorite because so many other artists have recorded. Mark Ford recorded it as a waltz. Bob Bevitt recorded it. And Big Mike, that sings at the Fly By Night, he sings it. And I wrote it 48 years ago, one of the first songs, and it's called Goodbye Summer. Snowflakes are falling and winter they'll bring. Moose are a-mating, I hear antlers ring. The wolves are a-howling, the furs are in prime. My dogs are all eager to hit the trap line. Alaska, Alaska, I hear the wind call. Summer is past and it's getting fall. Snowflakes are falling and winter they'll bring. I'll say goodbye summer, I'll see you next spring. I've cashed up my victuals, I got my moose in. Patched up the cabin to keep out the wind. The forest is turning a pretty gold brown. Leaves have a-fallen and covered the ground. Out in the woods you can hear my axe ring. I'll be cutting wood to last me till spring. Snowflakes are falling and winter they'll bring. I'll say goodbye summer, I'll see you next spring. you got beat the crumbs off the floor. I'll build up my fire, I'll close the front door. I'll say goodbye, summer, I've seen you once more. Thank you.
Roseland. Well, Paul has CDs down in the lobby, but he has generously donated some. And one of the perks of becoming a member of the Anchorage Folk Festival is that we have kind of impromptu drawings. Paul, the first thing we'll give away is this is one of the last of its kind, isn't it? Well, there's only a couple of these left in existence, and he has donated it. It's Alaskan folk songs, 1864 to 1977. Paul, reach right in here and grab a lucky winner now. You do not have to be here to win, by the way. Oh, he hasn't got his glass. If I hold it out here, you can see it, right? No. Is Monica O'Keefe here? I'll bet she's downstairs, maybe. We'll make sure Monica gets this. And pull one more out, Paul. We got a CD. This is the CD that's available in the lobby, so if your name doesn't come out of here and you really would like to take some home with you, you can. Von Voss. Is he here? I hear someone clapping. Yes, I don't see anyone leaping over the seats to get down here, so we'll make sure that Von gets that. And thank you again. We will be having a drawing for travel to Dutch Harbor tomorrow night. Vacation destination of Alaska, but it should be an awful lot of fun. I'd like to introduce you to a very special man right now. His name is Bob MacArthur. You may have seen him with a video camera plastered to his eye at many of the festivals. And Bob is going to MC for a bit, and he'll tell you all about our next act. Bob.
Well, thank you very much. It's rather strange. I'm used to introducing performers. I've never had a performer introduce me. Oh well, times change. LaFevre is our next performer, and I've known Lisa probably since 91 or 92 when I saw her here at the festival. And quite frankly, I didn't know a lot of the musicians or a lot of the performers, and this young lady impressed me. And then I learned she was a truck driver. Okay. Well, truck drivers want to be singers, and Lisa made it. So if Lisa's ready, have at it.
Also, I should introduce my companion up here. This is John Schlomer. He's not in the program. He's an awesome drummer. I'm so pleased he could make it today. And we're going to start out with one that he does really well on. This is a John Anderson tune that he wrote when he was in Alaska, and John does a really good job playing harmonica on this.
Alligators in the dark.
least one Bonnie Raitt tune. I think I'll probably do two. This one's called Papa Come Quick. Well, Papa come quick, Jody's gone to the city. What are you gonna do now that Jody's gone? She left a note on the TV, Papa, it's a pity. What are you gonna do now that Jody's gone? Mama's been crying in the kitchen since morning. She cried right through as the world turns. Seen it myself, Papa, it's hard before the baby gets burned. That's up the old Ford, get out the road map. They got a head start about a half a day. Stop at the mobile, pump up the black wheel. Jody and Chico and his ding dang deal. Well, it must have been them wild-eyed, silver-tongued schemers. A girl like Jody don't think for herself. Him and that Holly and his damn jalapenos, smoking that stuff will make you hurt yourself. Papa, come quick. Papa, come quick. Hey, Papa, come quick. Hey, Papa, come on. Oh, Papa, come quick. Jody's gone to the city. What are you gonna do now that Jody's gone? She left a note on the TV. Papa, it's a pity. What are you gonna do now that Jody's gone? Gas up the old Ford, get out the road map. They got a head start about a half a day. Pump up the black wheel, stop at the mobile. Jody and Chico and his ding dang deal. Mama's been crying in the kitchen since morning. She cried right through as the world turns. I seen it myself, Papa, it's a bitch. Let's all act before the baby gets burned. I gotta switch guitars because even though there's still 11 strings, it sounds out of tune. So thank you, Suzy.
It's only 6, but it's an even number.
That makes a difference. John, the only thing John insists on when I'm playing with him is that my guitar's in tune. His harmonicas can't be adjusted. Thank you, Suzy. This is a nice guitar. She's trusting me now. Wow. Well, luckily I can switch from 12 to 6, I hope. Let's see, this is one my husband and I wrote together. It's the first song we ever co-wrote. I think he's out there somewhere. And this one's for you, Rex. Grandma's memories were in a chest she gave to me. Inside I found a letter dated 1893. It was written by her grandma Things made with love are more precious than gold. As I wandered through her memories, she packed away with loving care. I found a coat of many colors that my mama loved to wear. It was ragged and torn, but she'd saved it carefully, and then the words in that old letter made perfect sense to me. It said golden candles won't give any light. The fire in diamonds won't keep you warm at night. Life's real treasures can't be bought or sold. Things made with love are more precious than gold. Things made with love are more precious than gold. Thank you. I always like that song. When we came up with that second verse with the coat of many colors in it, we were thinking Dolly Parton. We're going to sell it to Dolly. But we haven't gotten that far yet. In fact, we're just recording it this winter, finally. This is another original tune. I wrote this one winter, in the middle of winter. When I'm relatively new up here. I've only been here 13 years, and my husband's been here all his life, and he gets cabin fever really bad every winter. So I wrote this for him. Cabin fever, I've got snow shovel blues. I'm tired of boots, I want to wear ordinary shoes. The walls of this house are closing in. It's too cold to go out, it's too small to stay in. And the cabin fever starts coming back by the middle of winter. It's on the attack. We're all susceptible to cabin fever blues. Sweet September, all the colors in the trees. By October, all the lakes start to freeze. The first flakes of snow are so pretty to see. Then there's thousands burying me. And the cabin fever starts coming back by the middle of winter. It's on the attack. We're all susceptible to cabin fever blues. Well, I really don't mind the long nights, and there's nothing finer than the northern lights. And a little fever is a very small price to pay. January, ice sparkles in the air. February, snow up to here everywhere. Then along about April, the sun's a little hotter, and all that snow turns to muddy water. And the cabin fever starts going away. It's completely gone by the middle of May. And a little fever is a very small price to pay. great tune. And I think we're pretty close to done, am I right? I don't know. Anyway, this one's fun. This is called Come to Me, a little kind of reggae style. Tonight is my last night at the Office Lounge across from Sears on Northern Lights, yeah. And then next week I'm at Borders Books and Music Friday night. That's a nice one because you can come have coffee instead of drinking and smoking. It's really nicer for me. And then the next weekend I'm up at Lake Louise Lodge playing for the Sweethearts Poker Run. It's machine fun. And then I start at the Long Branch Wednesday through Saturday, and I'm sure John will be down jamming with me some of those nights. And John is in college, so I don't get to see much of him anymore. He's too busy. So it's really a treat having him come down. He usually comes down on Friday nights and plays with me. By the way, if you happen to, those of you who don't know him, if he looks familiar, he's got a twin brother in town that also plays harmonica with Jam and Salmon, so you might have seen his twin brother. I guess it runs in the family. Well, and he says enough about me, that's all. This is the last song I think I'm going to do, except for one for the kids, a real quick little one for the kids. This one's one I wrote for my best friend. She used to go to Hawaii every winter and come back here every summer, and I called her a fair weather friend, and I wrote this song for her. Fair weather friends travel south for the winter. Fair weather friends don't like the cold. Don't want to stay for those long winter nights. They'll never see the dancing northern lights. Fair weather friends say it's the best of both worlds, always chasing the sun. They like long days, like to fish the salmon run. Can't imagine Alaskan winter fun. Alaska's full of fair weather friends. They stay until the summer ends. Alaskan winters will never be for them. Say goodbye to our fair weather friends. miners go underground. The birds fly south to the lower 48. Fair weather friends won't settle down. Fair weather friends follow the summer. Fair weather friends don't like the cold. Some fair weather Alaskans are friends of mine. In September, I hate to see them go. Alaska's full of fair weather friends. They stay until the summer ends. Alaskan winters will never be for them. Say goodbye to our fair weather friends, and hello when the cold weather ends. It's true, it's true. She says I don't have time for the kids' song, so next time, you guys. Thanks a lot.
Lisa LaFevre, good. I'll be sure and catch her now. Our next performance is going to be down there at Borders on Friday night. Another opportunity to hear her. We talk a lot about our help here at the Folk Festival, the volunteers and the support we get. One thing I would like to say is a lot of thanks to the various media around town, the newspapers, the radio, the television, because those people too donate to us. And we're able to get our commercials on and get the word out all over to let people know about this fantastic festival. And speaking of fantastic, we do have another group coming up, Ursula Major and the Miners. And when I first thought about it, I thought it was going to be a mother and children. But instead it turns out to be a group. And they're going to do some fantastic music for you. Before they come on, just to mention that there's a slight mistake in the program. It's a very minor one, but you'll notice if you look at the workshops, some of them are scheduled for the lobby, and a lot of people are heading down there looking for the workshop when the lobby is the lobby of Building K back here. That should have been put in the program and wasn't. So tomorrow, if you're looking at the workshops and you see it says lobby, it's lobby Building K, which is right around this building, on the backside there. So that's where it's going. Alrighty, Ursula Major and the Miners. We've got Meg Anderson on bass, Dimitri Kimbrell and Tommy McGloin are doing the guitar work, and vocals are going to be by Ursula Good. Looking here, trying to determine exactly what kind of music we're talking about when we read in the program and see that it says Old Babylonian Riffs. I've heard a lot of music at the Folk Festival, none of it has been Babylonian, so this is something to really look forward to. Oh, we've got a lot more program coming up for you this afternoon too. Please keep that in mind. Suzy will be on, and Suzy Crosby, that is, and Marcia Nora coming up from all the way from Utah. You know, Marcia used to live here and has a group called the Barbed Wire Twisters. If you've heard the Barbed Wire Twisters, you know what to expect with Marcia Nora. That's wrong. You don't know what to expect. Okay, we're about ready to go, so let's have a big welcome for Ursula Major and the Miners.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. Appreciate it. We're going to start out with a song. We changed our lineup quite a bit. I guess he didn't. Did he announce the names? Okay, then I'll do it. On bass, we have Meg Anderson. On guitar, we have Dimitri Kimbrell. And on guitar, we have Tommy McGloin. And I'm Ursula Gould. Recently, Iris DeMent was in town, and she was fantastic, and so I changed the tune that I was going to do to this one. I hope you enjoy it. She's got something to say.
We got preachers dealing in politics and
This is a Weird Al Yankovic tune. Let's start that again.
Give us another chance.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We got the nervous Willie Blues.
Nervous. Okay, check it out. I'll start singing. Well, I heard that you're leaving, gonna leave me far behind. 'Cause you found a brand new lover, you decided that I'm not your kind. So I pulled your name out of my Rolodex, and I tore all your pictures in two. And I burned down the mall shop where we used to go, just because it reminds me of you. That's right, you ain't gonna see me crying. I'm glad you found somebody new, 'cause I'd rather spend eternity eating shards of broken glass than spend one more minute with you. I guess I might sound kind of bitter. You got me down in the dumps, 'cause I'm stranded all alone in the gas station of love, and I have to use the self-service pumps. Oh, honey, let me help you with that suitcase. You ain't gonna break my heart in two, 'cause I'd rather get 100,000 paper cuts on my face than spend one more minute with you. I'd rather rip out my intestines with a fork than have to lie beside you once again. I'd rather slam my fingers in the door again and again and again and again and again. I'd rather jump naked on a huge pile of thumbtacks, stick my nostrils together with crazy glue. I'd rather climb on the bathrooms in Grand Central Station with my tongue than spend one more minute with you. I'd rather rip my heart right out of my rib cage with my bare hands and then throw it on the ground and stomp on it till I die. Then spend one more minute with you. Okay, now this is our forte. I think you'll get the lyrics real easily. Johnny's at the urinal, he's pissing on the wall. If he hits the radiator, we'll smell it in the hall. School teacher blues. I got them school teacher blues. School teacher blues. dust and it's blowing out my brain. School teacher blues. I got them school teacher blues. School teacher blues. Nothing to lose but my pay. That ain't nothing, Tommy. What you take? Athletes, politicians, jets that snort cocaine. All I snort is drug dust. It's blowing out my brain. School teacher blues. Another school teacher blues. School teacher blues. Nothing to lose but my pay. And that ain't nothing. Johnny's at the urinal. He's pissing on the wall. If he hits the radiator, well, smell it in the hall. School teacher blues. I got them school teacher blues. School teacher blues. Nothing to lose but my pay. Oh, noble education, rising tide of mediocrity. I point my finger to the home and a few hypocrisy. I got them school teacher blues. School teacher blues. School teacher blues. Nothing to lose but my pay. And that ain't nothing. Thank you. Tommy, Ryan,
Great job.
Dimitri, Kimwell, Meg Anderson. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ursula Major and the Minor.
And Levergood.
Great job. There's a Cajun dance tonight. If anyone is a Cajun dancer or a Cajun wannabe dancer, it will be at the Elks Hall, the Snow Goose Restaurant, tonight from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Admission, I believe, is $10. I don't see it here on my sheet, but I believe that's what it is. Come see our guest artist in action. Our next group comes to us from Fairbanks. I was really excited when I saw this on the lineup. This fellow is someone that I really regard as an excellent, excellent songwriter. Paul Pandry is from Fairbanks. He'll be playing today with Dave Mishuk on mandolin and Dennis Stevens on bodhrán and harmonica. All three are from Fairbanks, and they're going to be playing Paul's original tunes today. I don't think there's anybody quite like Paul when it comes to songwriting. I love his stuff. They are described as being cowboy musher fusion, and felt that perhaps that needed a little clarification. They were talking about cowboy music, they were talking about dog mushing, and it just kind of seemed to fuse together. I think it's a guy thing. I don't know, maybe it's a Fairbanks, middle of the winter, nothing better to do thing. They hope to come back down here in the spring to do some more performing. And Paul is actually starting to talk about a recording. He's in the planning stages, and we are very glad for that. He'll be back on stage this evening with the group Gananum, and they're getting all set up, and we'll welcome them when it's time. Again, please make sure that you don't have food or drink in the auditorium. We've had a little bit of spillage this afternoon, and it makes for pretty sticky walking there. So if you've got something on stage with you, maybe you need to gulp it quickly, or in the house. Let's give a big hand to Paul Pendry and the guys.
Last summer I was spent some time in Montana and was looking through some of Charlie Russell's artwork. And I was thinking, you know, after being up in Alaska for a few years, after looking at all those cowboys and Indians and cattle, you know, the dogies, I got to thinking, you know, up in the interior of Alaska, I hadn't seen too many cows. And I thought, well, they have dogies. This thing is slipping down. They have dogies, just a different kind. And I got to wondering, well, I wonder if those dogies, how they would fare up in the cold country. So it's kind of what if.
Riding rope at 40 below. Ones that know the difference between a doggy and a steer, at the basket and an Eskimo. Wonder if they're sitting around the campfire, tumbling tumbleweeds and cool water, letting down them doggies underneath that halo moon, breaking up to freshly falling snow. Wonder if there's insulated headlamps that they wear upon their hats. I wonder if them booties gonna fit that old cayuse, or Arctic Roundup really where it's at. Wonder if they're waiting for the sunrise, get them doggies rolling for the day. I wonder if that herd is gonna fit in them their hills, or if they'll have to fly in all their hay. You're on the trail, rather see the wagon of a dozen husky tails. They don't do much walking cause they're running down the trail. See them run, let 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 them run. Territory in the snow. I wonder if they listen when the cowboy calls or offers choice remarks on where to go. I wonder if you snack them in the evening. I wonder if they'd bring you through a storm. I wonder if they'd sing to you after dinner time, or get there when your get-up's good and gone. I wonder if they'd pull the same direction, or if you couldn't line them out at all. I wonder if that snow hook's gonna do you any good, or if you'd ever find them when you fall. I wonder what you do with all those cow pies. Might just be the thing to mark the trail. I wonder if the moose will think they're short, fat caribou with horizontal antlers and a tail. I'd rather see a musher on the trail. I'd rather see the wagon of a dozen husky tails. They don't do much walking cause they're running down the trail. See them run, hear them run. Run, doggy. Let them run, run, let them run. Let them run, run, let them run.
Stevens on Bowron. Those were the dogs. Could you hear them? There we go. Pounding of ponderous puppy feet. I asked Robin Hopper to come out here and help me. Good help when you can get it, huh? This next song, I was visiting a friend of mine, and he was telling me about how his wife was in a dilemma. She was trying to decide whether to stay in the marriage or leave the marriage, and talking about water under the bridge and looking at kind of the pros and cons. And I found myself wanting to talk her into staying because I knew my friend real well. And I went back to the hotel room and started playing this song, and it came out as if first it was just too close to talk about my friend, so it kind of wound up being a conversation between his wife and one of her friends, kind of just going over the kind of whether to stay or whether to go. And the name of the song is called Amarillo.
Know that you're feeling forsaken. The dreams that you've had all turned blue. You've given way more than you've taken. But love don't always play by the rules. You've always said things would get better. Believing you reap what you sow. Now your harvest is ready, and your balance seems steady, but you'll never find out if you go. Ooh, you can't wait to get out of town. All the reasons for leaving have all gone away. So why don't you try hanging around? Girl, why don't you try sticking it out? I know that you've heard it already from a third-person friend's point of view. I can come back and talk when you're ready, but my feelings won't change when I do. From the bridge down below, it's just water, water. It's flowing so cold and it's clear. You can flow to the ocean in one fluid motion. You can put down some roots and stay here. Ooh, Amarillo, you can't wait to get out of town. Now all the reasons for leaving have all gone away. So why don't you try? Some promises don't last forever. No matter how much we hope that they will. If you're planning on love in your future, you better plan on some bridges to build. You don't have to take all of this heartache. Half of it back on the shelf. I can suffer can't change what's inside you. You've got to do that for yourself. Amarillo, can't wait to get out of town. Now all the reasons for leaving have all gone away. So why don't you try hanging around? Girl, why don't you try sticking it out? Ooh, Amarillo, can't wait to get out of town. Now all the reasons for leaving have all gone away. So why don't you try hanging around? Girl, why don't you try sticking it out? Thank you. Well, I need some help with this song too, but I'm going to ask you to help me. Last summer, driving back up here on the Alaska Highway, you know, it takes a while. Anybody ever driven that? Well, you kind of go into an altered state. And mine, I entertained myself by making up a song. And first I thought, when we're driving through Canada, I'd make up a song about the signs. And there's not many signs on the road. So I thought, well, I have to change. So I just thought about different things that happened on the way. And then and just try to get that kind of momentum going, you know, as you're going for hours and days. And so the chorus goes, that's where I need help. Is there any kids in the audience? Kids? How like a coyote if you're in the audience? Oh, good, good. Okay, you got a special part in here too. So the chorus goes, There's three notes. They're all in harmony. They're all in that same key. It goes, Alaska Highway, further than I ever thought a body ought to be. And it repeats, are you going my way? Just fill her up and see how far we get. And then the kids go, are we there yet? Can you do that? Kids, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Hey, I love it. So any of you adults, and as you know, anybody that's not sitting directly in the front seat is still a child when you're traveling. So if you had to ride in the back seat, you can go ahead and say that too. Okay. I'm sitting in the front seat of my truck, meditating on this yellow line. My wife and kids are counting all the ones coming toward us, and I'm counting on the ones we leave behind. Alaska Highway, further than I ever thought a body ought to be. Are you going my way? Let's fill her up and see how far we get. Are we there yet? We spent the morning sharing environmental lessons, looking for a moose or something bigger. When along came a bear, I turned around to tell the children who'd sighted him and about to pull the trigger. Alaska Highway, further than I ever thought a body ought to be. Are you going my way? Let's fill her up and see how far we get. Are we there? All right. gauges on my dashboard tell me things are going fine. We're buying all our gasoline in liters, and we must be going faster now. We're making better time, cause we're keeping track in kilometers. Alaska Highway is further than I ever thought a body ought to be. Are you going my way? Let's fill her up and see how far we get. Hey, all right. We're ready for disaster if one should come our way. We got extra everything, I think we do. We got extra food and gas and matches. Yeah, if we should have a wreck, we'd turn into an instant barbecue. Alaska Highway, further than I ever thought a body ought to be. Are you going my way? Let's fill her up and see how far we get. Hey, all right, you're getting better. This is the last verse, so I'll repeat the chorus one more time after that. So this is your chance. Don't go home feeling empty. 20th century is almost gone. So this is maybe one of your last chances to sing this song. Let's see how to go. Oh, we've been driving 14 hours and we've only gone a mile. We got construction detours on this venue. The mosquitoes look like tankers, and I see one with a smile. I believe he just put me on the menu. Alaska Highway, further than I ever thought a body ought to be. Are you going my way? Let's fill her up and see how far we get. Hurry. Alaska Highway, further than I ever thought a body ought to be.
Right, Paul Pendry and friends from Fairbanks. Great job, Paul. Well, we have a public service announcement. We're about to make someone very happy in the audience. Terry Pittman or Kimberly Pittman, if you're in the house, your checkbook is down at the membership table. Did you know you just did a $1,000 membership? No, we're only kidding. But if you lost your checkbook, or basically anything else in the house, you can go and claim it at the membership table. So if Terry or Kimberly Pittman are in the house, and I know we're broadcasting downstairs, if you hear me in the lobby, you can get it at the table. She doesn't have a phone in her ear. I was worried that Suzy Crosby was going to come out with a phone permanently attached to her ear. This is the gal to thank if you have liked the lineup, if you have enjoyed any part of the Folk Week performances. Suzy is the lady of the hour. She has done many, many phone calls. She has spent the last several months on the telephone and has been a real good sport about it. And Bob MacArthur is going to tell you a little bit more about Suzy.
Well, also I'd like to mention, if you think that Suzy's been busy on this festival, how many of you are aware of our Novemberfest? Levergood is our big fundraiser, and that requires even more work than does the folk festival. And I think that we received 62 phone calls at our place from Suzy concerning Novemberfest. So she is one busy, busy lady. I've known Suzy for a long, long time, and it feels like a lot longer than it is. Actually, we met in the early 90s, and Suzy asked me, I do a lot of videotape work, and Suzy asked me to come up and videotape a program up, I believe it was up in Willow, and it had to do with goats. And some of the best footage I ever got of Suzy Crosby is milking a goat. And I've still got it, just for what it's worth.
You know, I think Mary and I tied for fastest goat milkers that day. I don't think we got too often.
Hey, that was great. Anyhow, please give a great big welcome for Suzy Crosby.
Scruffy song. You guys know where your line is? Okay, the song has one sing-along word, and it's up to you to find it. And this whole story is true except for one little thing. I changed their names. I figured someday these people from Georgia would come back to Alaska, of course, with a new dog, hopefully a much bigger dog. For those of you that don't know this story, you'll have to research back to the Anchorage Daily News. It says, Georgia dog joins Alaska food chain. You remember that one? So I thought someday they would come back here, and God forbid they hadn't heard any of the promo, Leno and Paul Harvey and any of that, and they'd come back and hear the whole story for the first time from me and get divorced right in front of me. You know, I couldn't stand to break up a happy home in the middle of one of my gigs, so I changed their name, but other than that, the whole story is true. Find your line. Requiem for Scruffy. Maud and Henry Oglethorpe from Omaha, Nebraska, took to their Winnebago with their little dog Scruffy. Turned their compass west by north and headed for Alaska to view the wildlife and the scenery. Scruffy was 5 pounds of mostly fine Chihuahua breeding. He had a small dog complex, but great lung capacity. He'd snarl and growl at shadows and bark at passing traffic, and he pretty much destroyed the Oglethorpe's tranquility. For days and sleepless nights, old Henry been deprived of quiet. The Maud stuck up for Scruffy, saying it was just his way. So Henry smiled through gritted teeth and grim determination. To himself he swore that he would get that nut someday. Travel lights had lured them on with tantalizing photos of eagles, bears, and salmon in the rivers near Valdez. So they motored down the highway and pulled into the local chevron and let Scruffy out the RV door to stretch his legs and pee. And Scruffy hoisted up a leg, oblivious to danger, but up above a hungry eagle, talons flexing, shoulders hunched. Saw his opportunity and swooped down like a bomber, and America's national emblem carried Scruffy home for lunch. Maud went all ballistic, screaming, Henry, don't just stand there. But what was he to do, short of having wings to fly? And as they stood there helplessly in shock and sheer confusion, they watched as little Scruffy disappeared into the sky. Fading in the distance, they heard his mournful cry, ow, 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 ow. Whoop. Maud screamed, oh please, don't take my little Scruffy. He's just a 5-pound lap yapper, can't you see? Find a salmon in the river or an old roadkill moose liver, but bring my little Scruffy back to me. Maud's screams at last subsided to fits of anguished weeping. Henry said, there, my dear, and held her to his chest. But as he ran around the corner to settle up for gas and oil, the attendant saw him pounding fist to palm and shouting, yes! So people, if you're planning an adventure in Alaska, take some words of wisdom from an old man I once met. Said you'll admire the lush surroundings, find the wildlife quite astounding, but give them half a chance, they'll make hors d'oeuvres out of your cat. Okay, here's one for cowgirls. Or else the cowboys there will stammer and stare and stand and grin like a bull fenced in. No, the West is not as wild as the stories often say, but she gladly does the natural thing when the cowboys go away. She takes her shirt off, yes, she lets the snaps fly, takes the cotton off her back and hangs those fringes on a fence post. Yes, a cowgirl. She takes her shirt off and lets the sun shine down. Oh, lady, your lady, your lady. Oh, lady, your lady, your lady. That's fun. Your lady. Now a cowgirl might get lonesome as she rides under stars above. You will find she ain't the courting kind, and she won't be wooed with flowers and fruit. She'll be polite and friendly to the men she does not love. When she finds that special cowboy, this is what she does. She takes her shirt off. Yes, she lets the snaps fly, takes the cotton off her back and hangs those fringes on a fence post. Yes, a cowgirl. She takes her shirt off and lets the sun shine down. Oh, yes, a cowgirl. She takes her shirt off and lets the sun shine down.
Another true story. Well, here's one that I co-wrote with Hobo Jim, and this is called The Wind in My Sails. I was alone, the night was dark, there was no hope inside for this heart, like a drifting ship in stormy seas. I was searching for someone to believe.
listening to Mystical Tuning number 17 here. Longtime fan of Bill Staines, and for my money, this is the best song that Bill Staines has ever written, or at least in the best 20, at least in my top favorite, 14 or so. This has become kind of one of my trademark songs, and I'd like to invite Mike Campbell and Laura Hall up to sing harmonies with me on this one, and I'm going to go through the chorus once. Kind of slow for you guys to pick up on, because this is an obligatory sing-along. You won't be able to help yourself. It just, comes right out. It's called Crossing the Water, and it goes like this.